In January 1935, President Watson of the International Business Machines Corporation, while reviewing its educational activities, observed,
this year we are celebrating the 300th anniversary of the founding of the high schools in the United States. This anniversary is of special importance to our corporation and to all other corporations engaged in industry. I place more importance upon the high schools than I do upon the higher educational institutions, although I am very much interested in all branches of higher education. But the reason I put so much importance on the high school is because there are more young people who have an opportunity to take advantage of the high school education. And all industry and finance in this country must take a greater interest in promoting education, particularly in the high schools, because we want more of our young men and women to come into industry better fitted to progress and help build the kind of a country that we know we can build and we know that we want to live in and have our children and grandchildren and so on live on in the future.
And thus it came to pass that at the convention of the National Education Association, held at Atlantic City in February 1935, Mr. Maurice Robinson, chairman of the committee in charge of the 300th anniversary celebration, speaking on behalf of the International Business Machines Corporation, announced that a nationwide essay contest for high school pupils had been sponsored by that corporation. Under the terms of the offer, high school students of both sexes in the 48 states of the Union were eligible to compete, and all were invited to submit short essays on the value of time in education. To the national winner, the prize was to be a 4 years educational course at any institution of higher learning which might be chosen. To each winner, representative of a state, the prize award was to be a valuable wristwatch. A handsome schoolmaster system was to be awarded the school which the national winner represented. And each state school producing a winner was to receive one of International's highly prized athletic timer systems. Lord Carter, noted radio commentator, announced it to the world that evening over one of the great networks. Thousands of young men and women immediately grasped the significance of this unique proposal and laid their plans for winning a prize. Of the results of their preparations, more later. While the contest develops, let's see for ourselves just what many of the contestants may write about. For the value of time in education today, especially in the education of American youth, is not abstract theory. It is a measured effect of countless gradations, of priceless worth, as our school people know. Now for a look at the schoolmaster, the institutional grand prize of the contest, as it actually functions in an up-to-date school. Only by watching its many applications to the administrative needs of such an institution are we able to appreciate how much it conserves both time and energy. Before us, the Dansville High School in Dansville, New York. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and we see the janitor as he arrives from work and signs the autographed time register, unquestionable evidence that he's on the job. Now the students arriving, are grouped around their lockers just before the class assemblies. 8:40, and the warning bell sounds. Now we see the students wending their way to classes, and we go with the girls to the sewing class. The 8:45 bell now sounds, and the school day begins. And during a 45-minute period, the class is taught the intricacies of dressmaking. Thus engaged, they find that time moves quickly. At 9:31, the bell sounds again. That class is ended. Now let's go to another class. 9:34 now, and here we are with the class in typing. These boys and girls are being taught the touch system on their machines, and those so busily at work before us are doing practice exercises to develop a definite beat and rhythm to their strokes. To the principal's outer office now, where we see his secretary answering the inter-office telephone. Bring all classes to attention for an announcement, it says. We see her now, she sets the schoolmaster for a broadcast to be heard in all the rooms. Now she speaks into the microphone and calls all classes to attention. Hearing her, the students look wonderingly at the sound reproducer. The principal enters from his private office and goes to the microphone. With everything in readiness, he starts his announcement in a normal conversational tone. Now we see the various classes listening in, intent on what their principal is saying, yet still close to their work and not being distracted as they would have been by a general assembly. In conjunction with the saving in time which International Schoolmaster thus achieves, This is one of the most effective factors in administrative control. As the principal talks, he has the satisfaction of knowing that in every class throughout the entire school, all the students are attentively listening. At the end of the talk, the class work is instantly resumed. Now it's 10:24. We find ourselves in the modern light cooking classroom. The girls enter in their neat white uniforms and at the signal from the instructor get out the utensils needed for the morning's lesson. At 10:30, they are to hear a lecture on cooking by radio from the School of the Air. So again, we see the secretary in the office, busy at the schoolmaster. She's tuning in station WHAM, Rochester. And when this is done, she plugs the program and relays it to the one class concerned. The staff announcer of WHAM, who now introduces the home economics expert who is to give the lecture. The cooking class, as we see, is attentively waiting. Now we see the lecturer. She starts to explain in detail how a certain dish is prepared. And eagerly do these future young housewives absorb her words, for thus they learn the most efficient cooking methods of the day. The lecture itself is short and soon ended. In conclusion, the lecturer gives a resume of its most important points, after which the girls go to work with their mixing bowls, beaters, pots, pans, and so forth, and a good time is had by all. Start of the period. Now we visit the class in chemistry. Heating solutions and mixing chemicals and acids demand timed exactness for correct results. So this class, perhaps more than in any other class in the school, appreciation of the value of time is highly developed. Our first class following luncheon is a French recitation class. Here we see the students as they go to their desks and the teacher is giving her students some preparatory instructions. So let's leave this class for a moment and look in at the office of the school once more. The secretary is answering the telephone. An order for a fire drill is being given. So quickly she leaves the schoolmaster and goes to the control panel to sound the alarm. It's only a routine drill, but to the students it means the same thing as though it were an actual fire, to leave the building as quickly and quietly as possible and in orderly formation. That is their duty. This, as we see, they do, and in a scant 2 minutes the building is emptied. When all are outside, another bell is heard, which returns them just as promptly to their classrooms. Now the French class resumes and a number of the students go to the blackboard. We see them translating sentences from English into what is hopefully termed French. Freshman class and music appreciation, and we are reminded again of the versatility of the schoolmaster, for it renders the finest of music to the students through the medium of recordings. The teacher enters and announces the music to be studied during the period. She then telephones the office and requests the numbers she wishes to be played. In the office, the secretary adjusts the schoolmaster panel board. She now places a record on the machine, and the program begins. Back in class, the students watch the sound reproducer concealed behind the grill on the wall. And now comes the strains of Schubert's Unfinished Symphony. At 2:55, the bell cuts in, signaling the end of the period. The teacher enters and dismisses the class. It's 3 o'clock now, and the boys need no coaxing to get to the gym in a hurry. Several peppy practice games of basketball start immediately. Not much science, but plenty of action and enthusiasm. In the office, meanwhile, the secretary receives a telephone call from the athletic instructor requesting march music for the gym class period. As the instructor enters and sounds his whistle, the boys line up in their places. A few terse orders, and then they start. Simultaneously, the music begins. And so to the end of the period when the class is dismissed. For the last time now, the bell clangs loudly. 3:40, the school day is ended. In a very few minutes, the schoolhouse is cleared. Only a few students and members of the faculty remain. Now the janitor finishes his work for the day. As he leaves, signs out on the autographed time register. Simultaneously, the night watchman arrives, signs in on the register, straps on his clock, begins his rounds. As he punches in at his first station, our own day at school is also completed. Regretfully now, we say goodbye. And now to revert to the contest itself. At the general offices of the International Business Machines Corporation in New York, a large room has been devoted entirely to handling the essays. And here, even more eloquent than the large amount of mail and the piles of manuscript laid out before us, is a huge map on a wall. On this map are innumerable pins, and what a tale they tell. A tale of small towns, countless small towns, all fighting for honors against the big towns and cities. So rapidly have the little towns and villages mushroomed on this map that already they've become of vast importance, and day after day do their numbers swell. Like David's challenging Goliath, the small town youths of our great nation are pitting their minds and stores of knowledge against all comers, regardless of size. Day after day, the entries pour in, thousands of them from far and near, each representing the thoughts of some student on the value of time in education. Just imagine the task of reading and judging these thousands of essays. One pities the judges. And now Mr. Watson announces their names. Dr. Nicholas Murray Butler, president of Columbia University. Dr. Harry Woodburn Chase, chancellor of New York University. Dr. William Mather Lewis, president of Lafayette College. And the very Reverend Edward J. Walsh, president of St. John's College. Long and earnestly do these four men ponder, but finally, the winners have all been chosen, and the national winner is one Paul Bleiler, a 17-year-old student of the Elk Mound High School, Elk Mound, Wisconsin. Here we glimpse the Elk Mound High School and its outstanding principal, Mr. Stanley O. Bergman. Here, too, Miss Mary E. Barnes, its teacher of English. To her, Paul Bleiler owes some very fine training. The Reverend C.O. Peterson now opens the ceremony.
I take great pleasure in introducing to you Mr. R.A. Bush of New York City, General Manager of the International Time Recording Division of the International Business Machines Corporation, who is acting here as personal representative of Mr. Thomas J. Watson, President of the corporation. Mr. Bush.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today of the country. In addition to worldwide recognition, Paul Bleiler's work has won for him a more tangible reward, which it is now my great pleasure to present to him in the name of Mr. Watson by reading this letter, which has been entrusted to me for personal delivery. Mr. Paul Bleiler, Elk Mound High School, Elk Mound, Wisconsin. Dear Mr. Bleiler, it is a great pleasure for me to advise you that the Committee of Awards has adjudged your essay on the value of time and education as the best in a nationwide contest conducted by International Business Machines Corporation. Your ability, as reflected through their decisions, entitles you to the 4-year university tuition scholarship which this company offered as first prize. I shall follow your career with much interest, and I hope that when you have graduated, we may consider your affiliation with our company in a position where you will be able to put your knowledge to practical application. The activities of this company are broad. We need trained men in sales, engineering, manufacturing, and many other specialized fields. Please accept my best wishes for a most successful college career. Signed, sincerely yours, Thomas J. Watson, President. Congratulations, Paul. I wish you the best of luck.
Mr. Bush, it is impossible for me to adequately describe my appreciation of all these events.
Now we would like to hear a few words from Paul's mother. She is the one who taught him the requirements of reading and writing even before he went to school. Mrs. Bleiler.
I surely am very happy today. We appreciate this wonderful opportunity, and we hope that it may be of aid to Paul in living a more useful life.
I present at this time the Reverend Mr. Bleiler.
Mr. Chairman, and friends, I'm strangely moved this afternoon.
Following these ceremonies, we see Paul Bleiler receiving the congratulations of his fellow classmates. This handsome plaque was awarded as a lasting reminder of his achievement in bringing national recognition to his school. And the schoolmaster you've already seen was installed at Elk Mound following the ceremony. Bob Carter, in his broadcast that night, cited Paul's accomplishment as a wonderful example for the youth of the nation. Ceremonies similar to that at Elk Mound attended the presentation of prizes to each state high school. Here the students of the high school in Geneva, New York are eagerly awaiting the opening events. On the stage now we see Mr. Gordon H. White, sales agent of the company in Rochester. Mr. White is about to make formal presentation to the school of the athletic timer system, which was won for it by Leroy Smith. In closing, Mr. White said, "My privilege to present on behalf of the International Business Machines Corporation this bronze commemorative plaque and an international athletic timer for your gymnasium." Mr. L.M. Collins, principal of Geneva High, accepts the award and expresses the appreciation of the entire faculty and student body. But the student body wanted to express its appreciation in true high school fashion. And here we see the cheerleaders leading the school in rousing cheers for Leroy Smith and for IBM, sponsor of the contest. With the installation of the athletic timer in the school's gymnasium and its final testing, it is now ready for use in athletic events. Just a glimpse now at the other timers, those which the other schools received. Here they are, lined up in the factory at Endicott, just before shipment. And now, as the finale to this picture, just a glimpse of the educational program being conducted by International Business Machines Corporation at its school in Endicott, New York. As its president has often stated, education represents the heart of this business. And during the last 20 years, its educational facilities have been constantly augmented. In August, for example, some 48 classes were underway under the direction of these instructors. And now we'll glimpse a few of these classes. We see here an executive school in session. Now we see a girls' class composed of 30 young women, all of whom are graduates of major American colleges, marking the expansion of the school into a co-educational institution. And here a sales class composed of girls and boys in session. Now attending the graduation exercise of this school in September. It was not only the largest class in IBM history, but its first co-educational class. The ceremonies were truly inspiring. President Watson now makes his address.
I am interested in education because that through education is the only way that we can hope to develop the right kind of a civilization. As we look at the education proposition in our own country, we find that we have 28 million students in our two lower schools. And then we take a step further, and we find that we only have 4 million of the 28 who get into the secondary or high school. It makes us stop there and pause for a moment to think what we ought to do about that situation. I think that is the weak spot in our whole education system. We're not giving enough attention toward getting more of our boys and girls into the secondary schools. And out of 28 million, I think you'll all agree that 4 million is entirely too small a number.
And finally, we hear Dr. William Mather Lewis, president of Lafayette College.
There is an old Persian proverb which says, "O youth, spread wide thy mantle when the gods rain gold." O youth, spread wide thy mantle when the gods rain gold. You've had these advantages. The gods are raining gold about you. They have rained it about you in these last 2 or 3 months. They poured it about you in your college days and in your school days. The question is, have you spread wide your mantles? Have you the capacity to gather in the wealth of the centuries which is given you and make the most of it? If you have, life holds more than it does for my generation or any other, for America is on the way up. But if you have not the capacity, if you are critical of other people, if you don't know how to make friends, if you haven't the common courtesies of life and know how to treat other people, if you are self-seeking, small and petty, you will never catch the wealth that life holds for you. If I have anything to say to you tonight or to leave with you, it is that Persian statement, O youth, spread wide thy mantle when the gods rain gold.